right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Max, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. And thank you for joining us today. So this is our monthly Getting Started with Okta Workflows meetup. But today we have a slightly different format. We have a special guest. We have Ruby Co, and she'll talk about getting started with workflows and how to make automation more straightforward. And then the second half, I'm going to build a small demo, actually 2 flows, and just show you how workflows works. Let's see. So quickly, this event is recorded. It will be available right after we end the session on Crowdcast. And then also tomorrow, I will upload it to YouTube. Also tomorrow, you'll get a message from Crowdcast with links to both videos and any other resources that we mentioned. If you have any questions, you can ask them in chat. There's also a separate Q&A section, so whichever you prefer. Usually, if there's some audio or video issues, what usually works as just refreshing the browser page. Again, it usually resolves all the issues. And I think that's it. Ruby.
Sounds good. Thank you, Max. And hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining here. I'm Ruby Ko. I'm a product marketing manager intern here at Okta. And today in this session, the main goal here is to just cover the fundamentals of Okta workflows, break down the key features. And as mentioned earlier, we'll go through a live demo to bring those features into actions. So let's get started. So to start, I want to introduce what exactly is Okta Workflows. Okta Workflows is a powerful automation tool designed to streamline complex tasks so that IT teams are able to scale effectively and ensure security and compliance at the same time. It has a very intuitive if this then that logic that simplifies automation by eliminating the need for code, making it more accessible and highly effective. And we've been able to see great results with our customers where we've been able to help them save over 5 billion and approximately 130 million hours by automating their identity processes. And these significant cost and time savings truly just highlights the impact that Workflows is able to do through its automation features. In addition to these successes, Okta Workflows also addresses common technology problems that impact employee satisfaction, retention, and productivity. 82% of breaches actually involves human error, and it's really evident that technology frustration is just a significant issue. And because of this, nearly 1/3 of people have left their company because of it, and almost half have permanently stopped using a service after a breach. And so automation through Okta Workflows have effectively solved these challenges by automating these processes and reducing these errors. And in today's challenge, doing more with less is the goal here. We want to be able to provide great experience for not only the employees, but also our customers and ensure that security is in place, which is where Okta Workflows truly excels. This no-code platform simplifies identity management by automating tasks through pre-built templates and connectors, all without the need for coding. Its drag and drop interface, as you can see here in this video, really streamlines that process and makes it super easy to navigate so that IT teams can save time, enhance security, and reduce the cost of manual tasks and developer work. So now that we've established what Okta Workflows is able to do, how can we actually use it? And what does each component mean? You can think of workflows as a kitchen gadget that automatically slices, chops, and prepares your favorite dish, almost like a personal chef at your fingertips. And if we used pizza as an example, each feature in workflows acts as a crucial tool in the kitchen working together to create that perfect pizza. And so today we'll dive into the essential features of workflows, including templates, connectors and applications, connector builders, main flow and helper flow, and tables. We'll also be covering the event cards, function cards, and action cards. And I'll be breaking down each of these components in the simplest terms so that managing this tool is super straightforward and easy to grasp. So when you first log into the Workflows console, you might feel uncertain about where to start. In this case, templates are your best friend. They serve as automation recipes, providing pre-built flows for common business tasks. We currently offer 70 templates that you can easily customize to meet your specific needs. And each template comes with detailed instructions and guidance to help you set up your workflows seamlessly and effectively. And you can easily explore these templates by selecting the templates option in your workflows console, as you can see here. So now that you have some sort of direction, the next step in setting up your workflows is connecting your applications to workflows. So just as you may need an oven in order to bake, you also do need a connector to interact with your applications. And currently we offer 30 pre-built connectors for you to connect with common applications like Slack, Microsoft 365, you name it. And allowing you to establish these connections quickly gets you started right away. So here are the pre-built connectors that we offer so far. However, if you don't see your applications listed, don't worry, because we have our connector builders, which allows you to create custom connections tailored to your needs. And our goal here is to make workflows compatible with all of your existing applications. And with connection builder, excuse me, connector builders, we can integrate any system by connecting its custom APIs, enabling you to perform actions related to your applications. And this flexibility really ensures your workflows can be seamlessly implemented throughout your organization's existing operations. So with your application successfully connected, it's start to create your workflows. You'll be working with two types of flows, one being the main flow and the second being the helper flow. The main flow acts like the head chef that oversees and directs the entire workflow, while the helper flow acts as the sous chef that navigates and supports tasks. Additionally, you'll encounter tables within these flows. Table serves as the storage for data, similar to how chefs use a pantry to organize their ingredients and tools. And within these flows, you'll find cards that are essential for shaping your workflows. And these cards are events, function, and action cards. These cards represent the key steps in your automation process, guiding you towards your desired outcome. We offer currently 140 plus pre-built triggers that you can customize to fit your specific needs, allowing you to tailor each step of your process to fit your unique requirements. And one thing to note is that every flow must start with an event card. This card serves as the trigger to kickstart your entire workflow, much like how preheating your oven is the first step in making your pizza. And function and action cards, on the other hand, are the intermediary steps handling tasks such as filtering and adjusting ingredients, much like how you would do alterations to your data. And with these special touches together, these cards shape the entire workflow, offering flexibility and complete control over your automation processes. So here's the example of how these cards look like, the event on the left, action and function cards on the right. And these can all be accessed through the Workflows console. And pre-built triggers like these are available to just help you simplify and customize each step of your workflows. So to recap, templates are like recipes, simplifying workflows for common tasks. Connectors and applications are similar to kitchen appliances and actions, enabling integration with third-party apps. The main flow and helper flow are like the head chef and sous chef that oversees the entire process and handles supportive tasks. And finally, event, function, and action cards are the steps within the main and helper flow that initiates, adjusts, and executes the final outcome. So hopefully that is simple enough for you to remember, but now we'll cover the basic features of workflows through action and through our live demo, and I'll hand it over to Max to help us guide us through it.
Thank you, Rubio. This was good. I like combining workflows with food or cooking. So
Yeah.
I like that. No, thank you. It was wonderful. So yeah, I'm gonna now build the following two flows. So the first flow is going to be where we save deactivated users, and we're going to save them into a table, workflows table, and then another flow will run on schedule, and then it will export those users, put them in a file, and then send an email. Okay, so again, the scenario is users are deactivated, they're saved, and then maybe once a day or once a week, the flow runs on schedule and then emails those users to someone. All right. So, all right, let me share my screen. And all right. Okay, let me go here. All right. Let me give you also just a quick overview. So when you start with workflows, this is the main page, and then there are videos to help you get started. On the right-hand side, there are resources here, from documentation to guides to videos, and then office hours, and then templates are here, and then that's Ruby mentioned. So these are ready to run flows. You just add them to workflows, and you can start. So you can run them, you can experiment, you can break them, you can update them, or use it as a starting point. So very, very helpful. A very nice way to get started is just using these templates. But now I'm going to go to flows. And again, I have a lot of folders here. So you can organize your flows into folders, subfolders. Again, if you're starting, you won't have that many, but that's what I have. Now I'm going to navigate to online meetups and then September right here. And I'm going to create the first flow. Now to create a flow, you click on this new flow button, and then you click on unnamed, and then let's give it a name. So save deactivated users. If you want, you can give it a description. And then I'm going to use this option, and this will allow me to see the execution data. Every time I run the flow, it will allow me to see the data that was passed through the flow for each run. I'm going to click save. So I created a new flow, and I gave it a name. Okay. Now, usually the first thing you sort of consider is, how do you trigger a flow, right? How do you run a flow? Now, in this example, we're going to use an event trigger. So when an event happens in Okta, we would like to trigger this flow. Then I'm going to click Add Event. And what you see here, these are connectors that are available. So you can use the events that these connectors support to trigger a flow. So you can see, in addition to Okta, of course, there are other connectors, but I'm going to use Okta. And when you select the connector, it shows you all the events that this connector supports. So you can see there's a long list of events for Okta. So you can scroll and find the event, or you can also search. So deactivated. See right here. So it says starts flow when the user is deactivated. Right. That's the event that I'm going to click on the event. Right. And so this is the event. This is called the event card. In these fields, this is the information that the event makes available. Right. And every event is going to be a little bit different. Now, what I usually do from here, once I add the events, like I can just test this flow. And I want to make sure that it runs when I deactivate a user. Right. And it's not going to do much, but I just want to see that the information, I get this information. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save. And I'm going to turn the flow on. Now, it usually takes, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds, maybe a minute for the flow to sort of register and become active. So while I wait, so I don't just sit, and you stare at the screen. I mentioned I'm going to use a table to save user. So while this flow is getting ready or being cooked, I'm going to go back to my folder, and I'm going to create a table. Now, tables are is like a short-term storage for flows. Okay, it's not a database, but you can save data as the flow is running. So maybe you're running the flow, and there is a step that needs to save data, and then another step in the flow needs to read the data. So that's a perfect example. You can also have one flow save data and another flow read data. But again, it's not a database. It's kind of a temporary or kind of fast cache for a flow. So I'm going to create a table and give this a name. Users table. I think I already have one, so I'm going to call it 2. And I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to create columns. So I'm going to save 4 fields, and I click new column. And then the first one is going to be first name. And then this is the text field is type text. I'm going to add another, and last name, and add another. I'm going to say username, and one more is going to be email, and create. So I created a table. These are default columns, sort of built in, and then I created the 4 columns here. Okay, so let's go back, and I think Workflows had sufficient time to make this flow active. So let's go ahead and run this. So right here, let's open it. Let me see if there are any questions. All right, no questions. And now I'm going to deactivate a user, and then right here in execution history, this is where you can see how the flow runs. So right now it's going to be blank, of course, but I'm going to go to my admin. Let me just refresh, make sure it didn't sign me out. Okay. And I've got my users here, and so I'm going to take a user. We'll take Maya, and then I'm going to deactivate Maya and deactivate. And I'm going to go back to my flow, and let's see here. We should see the execution. And here we go, and you can see a success here. And then so this indicates the flow just ran, and this is the information that that this event provides. So for example, there is the admin. This is the user who deactivated. So that's me in this case. I'm the admin. And then right here, the Okta user, that's the person who we just deactivated, Maya. Now, if you put the cursor in the upper right corner, you'll see the 2 arrows, and you can open it, and you can see the JSON object with information. So this particular event provides the user ID, the alternate ID, which is the email, the display name, and then the user type. That's the information the event makes available. Okay. Now, but so the display name is fine. I mean, I could probably parse it into first name, last name, and the email is the user ID. But once you start building flows, you probably need more than just this, right? So you need additional information about the user, maybe their title, maybe their department, maybe their manager. And so this information is not available. Okay. So at a next step, we're going to read information about this user. And then and Ruby also talked about actions and functions. So this is going to be an action. And an action is when you call an action on a connector, right? And again, these are all the connectors which are available. And I'm going to use the Okta connector. And then these are all the actions that are available. And the one I need, again, if you know, you can, of course, scroll, but I like to just search and then read user, right? And retrieve user information. So I'm going to select this action. Now, so I mentioned connectors now, but every connector, if you want to use a connector, you also need to create a connection, right? And then the connection information is here, right? I'm not going to go over creating a connection. It just takes, maybe a minute or 2, but every connector that you use does require a connection. And you can create multiple connections, right? So maybe to a preview environment in Okta here, or maybe to production or to another environment. So it's up to you. Now, when you use a card, and it depends on the connector or also on the action, it's asking you, well, these are the inputs, and then these are the outputs, but I don't need all these outputs. So I'm going to uncheck them. But what I do need is I want a username, first name, last name, and then the primary email. And then you click save. So you can always configure, and again, it's going to depend on the action. If you ever need to go back, you can click the gear and then choose fields. and then it's going to show you, you can select which fields you want to show. Right. So, all right. Now, so this particular action requires the user ID. Now, what I also like to do is you can test this card before testing the entire flow, but you do need the user ID. So what you can do, you can go to execution history and let's see. So, and then find the Okta user. So just make sure it's not the admin, it's the actual Okta user. And then I'm going to open it. I'm going to copy the ID. I'm going to go back. And I'm going to click. Almost all the cards will have a run this card option. I'm going to click on run this card. And I'm going to paste the user ID and click run. Right? And then I get this information. So this indicates the card works. Okay. But now how do I get pass the information from this card into this card? So then you scroll again to Okta user, you see the user ID, and you take this field and you just connect it to the input field on the next card, right? So this is one of my favorite capabilities in Okta Workflows, okay? All right, and now the last step is we want to save this information into a table. Now this is going to be a function. Now an action is when you call an action on a connector, right? So that's a third-party service or an Okta. Now, a function is, these are functions that allow you to manipulate, create data. So you can work with numbers, strings, create if-then logic, loops, and also work with tables. So I'm going to select the tables category, and then you can see all the functions that tables support. And I'm going to select create row. And then it's going to prompt me which table. And then I'm going to navigate to my folder and too many folders. And this is the one that I just created. And then choose and then save. And then it's also, it reads the column, the table metadata. And then I'm going to also check the email and click save. And then I'm going to take the output, right? So this section here is input, and then the output in this kind of a more grayish color. And I'm going to take fields and connect them to this card. So username goes to username, and then first name, and then last name, and then primary email. If you want to test this card, you can do that as well. So I'm going to click run this card, and you can enter information. That's fine. We'll use the same thing. And then click run. And then this is the row ID. If I go, oh, let me save, sorry. Let me save. Let me open a new tab. And go to tables. And so this is the, right, this is the values that I just entered. So it works. I can also delete this row. Okay, so now this works, and let's now test the entire flow. So I'm going to go back to Maya, and let's activate Maya. Let me see if there are any questions. Maybe see no questions. Okay. So we reactivated Maya, and then let's deactivate Maya again. And let's go to execution. All right, and let's see. Wait for a second or two. All right, and we can see this the second run. And so same, like similar information, user deactivated event. Then we're passing the ID, we're retrieving information about the user, and then we're saving the information into a table. If I go into a table and refresh, we can see information about Maya. So let's go ahead and deactivate another user. So let's do Mary and deactivate. And then let's see. We're going to go to execution. And then let's deactivate Maya. And then let's deactivate another user. So let's do Mary and deactivate. And deactivate. And then let's deactivate Maya. And deactivate. 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 And deac let's refresh the table. And we can see Mary is also here. And if I look, let's see, once it will update. If you want to sometimes get the run faster, I usually go to flow and maybe come back, and then it sort of forces, we can see the third run. So so we built a flow that runs when the user is deactivated, and then we read additional information about the user, and then we save the user information into a table. So this is the first flow. Now, the other part is that you want to get a report, right? Now, could you export an email, create the additional logic right here? You could, but then every time a user is deactivated, you would get that email, right? So if that's what you need, that's totally fine. But another example, just to show you, if you want to do a report, you might want to run it once a day, once a week, or sort of schedule it to run. And so I'm going to build a second flow that does that, kind of separate the logic. So I'm going to go back to the folder, and I'm going to create a new flow, and I'm going to give it a name, and this is going to be email users. I'm going to save this information, the flow history again, click save. Now, I'm going to set this up at the very end. So this will just help me, so I don't need to worry about when it runs, but I'll test it manually. But the first step is the information is already in the table. So what I need to do is I need to export the information into a CSV file, right? And so that's part of the tables. It's a function in the tables category. I'm going to click add function, and I'm going to scroll to tables, and I'm going to select export to CSV, right? And then it's asking me choose a table. So I'm going to go and select September, and then select my table. Click save. Right, and it has some options for inputs because you can search, but we don't really need that. What you can do is you can specify the column. So if you remember, there are two default columns, like the row ID and created. So you don't have to export them. So if you want to, you can specify the columns. So we can say here, first name, and you have to match exactly the case, and then last name, and then username and email, right? You want to give it a file name, and this is going to be, let me just go here for a sec. This is my test, but I need to copy so that the email works, the filtering works. That CSV, right? And you can also you can test this card. It's going to give you a file back, but we can just make sure that it runs correctly. So we're testing this card, and this is a CSV file. But this means it works. Now, the next step is I want to, in the email subject, I want to use the current date. So I know when this flow ran. So I need to get the time right now, or today's date. So it's a function, and in the date and time category, so there are a lot of functions to help you work with date and time. So I'm going to use the now. Now returns the current date. Okay, if I test it, it doesn't have any inputs, just different outputs. And then so this is how it looks. So, and then you can convert these, the dates to various formats and time zones. But I do want to convert. I want something simple, like deactivate the users and the date. So I'm going to use another function, and that's in the date and time category. I'm going to use convert. So I'm going to take the date. That's the start date. Now the format is going to be like this. And as for the zone, US Pacific. Now with dates, again, I usually like to test. And so I'm going to run this card, get the date. So I'm going to copy this date. And then I'm going to test this card. Right? I'm going to copy the start date and click run. And then this is the custom one. This is the I need. Right? That's going to go in the subject of the email. Okay. The custom one. Now, next step is I'm going to use a compose card. Now, the compose card allows to write any text. And I'm going to say, again, deactivated users. I think it's on, and then custom. And then we can just put it on the same line like this, right? And the last step is we want to use the Gmail connector to send an email. And so I'm going to use app action. And now it's going to be the Gmail. Now, again, I already have a connection, but if this was your first time using the Gmail connector, you would need to go through setting up a connection. But if I scroll down and then send email with attachment, and then this is the card. Now, so let me set my email. Right. Now the from, CC, and BCC, I don't need those fields. So I'm going to click the gear and I'm going to click choose fields, and I'm going to uncheck these fields. Like I don't need them. I do need the subject and the body, so I'm going to click save. And then the subject is going to be this text here, and the body is fine too. We'll just use the same. Another thing, notice it says output here, right? That's the default output field for the card. If you want to give it more context, you can click the type and then click customize and change it to something like message. Right? And then it changes here automatically. Now, as for the file name, I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to copy this. And for the file content, right, so this is the file right here. I'm going to take the file and drop it connected like this. All right. And we are ready to run this. Okay. Now, I'm going to come back to this, but to test this entire flow, we can just click run. When you click run, it will turn it on automatically. But if you need to turn it on, it's on right here. And then we're going to click run. All right. And then, so it exported. We got the date. We converted the date. We created the subject and the body. And then we send an email. So let's see here. Right. And this is my email that I just received. And if I open this file, there should be two users, right? Mary and Maya. All right. And then you can see the subject. So that's what I wanted to, right? That's the subject with today's date. All right, now the last step is I need to run this on schedule. Now we're not going to, of course, wait a day. So what I can do is I can set it 5 minutes, and then maybe if there are questions, it will see when it runs the next time. So I'm going to click Add Event. And so now it's schedule. That's the schedule card. And then it's prompts you right away to set a schedule. Now, the most you can run is every 5 minutes. So we're going to set that. All right, I'm going to click Save. And now what's neat is that right here at the top, it tells you when it's going to run next. So in about 3 minutes. If you need to change the schedule, you can click the little clock, and then you can update the schedule. Okay, but it's about 2 minutes. Let me see if there are any questions, and then we will see a run in about 2.5 minutes. Let me switch to history. All right. So All right. Okay, so there's I see one question from Jay-Z. So how did you apply the connectors with keyboard and not tagging? Connectors. Is the question about passing fields to the next card or specifically about connectors? So maybe I'll go back. So the connections, let me see, passing the fields. Okay. So let me see if there's an example I can use. Well, I don't want to break anything here, but let me exit. Let me open a flow that I built before. So like this one. This is the same example that I built before. And yeah, so there's no keyboard shortcut. So what I do is that I take a field, I take output from a card, and I just drag and drop it to the input of the next card. It doesn't need to be next card as in positioning. It can be any card that follows. But that's how you connect like this. Right. So I hope that answers the question. But you can feel free to add any if you have any more comments. Also, I'll share if you have any questions after the event, you always feel free to email me. So I shared my email. But let's see if not yet. Let's see when it should run next. Save. So schedule. Oh, it just ran. Okay, let's see. Oh, it ran, but no email. Let's see here. Yeah, it just ran, but for some reason, let's see. Huh. Oh, here we go. All right, now it's working. So this is the email that I probably should have deactivated another user so we can see 3 users here. But yeah, it just ran on schedule. And then you also want to do is if you don't need this running, then you can just turn off the flow and it stops. It's not going to run again. So. All right, so that's what I wanted to show you. And then I put a link in the bottom of the screen. It says Okta Workflows Getting Started video. So we have a large collection of other videos, kind of in a similar format, just covering the fundamentals, just building different flows. So check out this link. It goes to YouTube, but again, a lot of videos. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions or if you have questions after the session. My email is there. I also want to say that we launched a community forum recently, and I'm going to put the link in the chat. So if you have any questions, you can also post on the forum. So let me do that. So cool. Well, I don't see any more questions. So thank you, folks, for joining us today. Ruby, thank you so much for hosting. We should do this again.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you for letting me join.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right, folks. Thanks again. And then, yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.